Hey, Pat.
Matt! Joey.T.Cartoon.P is a madman.
What are you talking about? I mean...
Did he tell you what you were watching?
What are you going...
Did he tell you what you were watching?
No! Weirdo.
No need. I've waited far too long for this day to happen. You and me reviewing a sports movie. In particular, a golf movie.
What's it gonna be? Caddyshack?
No.
The Legend of Bagger Vance?
Maybe.
Caddyshack 2?
Okay, no, I'm not that crazy.
Then what is it?
Nothing really. Just a little movie from our friend, Shia Labeouf.
No, I'm not doing Shia LaBeouf movie. No! Jeez, a Shia LaBeouf movie. I was hoping I would never have to do this.
Well, it shouldn't be that bad. Larry King says it's every bit as good as Seabiscuit.
Well, that makes this worse, because I loved Seabiscuit, and now this movie has to live up to those expectations. So if this sucks, I'm blaming Larry King. So our movie begins in Jersey! Yeah, t-shirt time, GTL!
Put that down.
Okay.
This is the setting to one of our main characters, Harry Vardon, as he watches men in stovepipe hats evict his family out to build a golf course. The irony being that he will grow up as a world champion golfer.
Golf is a game played by gentlemen, not for the likes of you. Now, run along, boy.
Wow, what is this? Monty Python's Flying Circus?
While this intro does look silly, it actually copies the feel of the original book, which isn't just a retrospective of the US Open match. The book is also based on the period in which the game took place. You see clips of the US Open and tennis, and other cultural figures outside of the golf course.
Well, folks, this is definitely a golf movie. Check out those knickers and that hat.
And to think I thought this guy was going bowling.
Obviously, you're not a golfer.
We then have our young protagonist, Francis Ouimet, looking down at a golf ball, realizing his real passion in life, putting tediously on a hardwood floor and annoying his mom.
We then cut to an older Harry Vardon at a department store, minus the epic mustache of the actual guy.
That's all right, Francis. Even in our darkest hour, we must always remember, you never despair. You ever held a live bird in your hands? Not too hard to hurt it. Just firm enough to stop it from flying away. Try it again.
Whoa! Total pedal alert! Maybe it was a good idea he didn't keep the mustache.
Ah, please, the kid must be thrilled. That's the same way I feel whenever I gaze upon Tom Brady.
We then cut to the next scene, literally with a lack of transition, and we have Harry back at London negotiating a sponsorship with the local lordship.
Hail the conquering hero!
Mr. Darwin?
Stop mentioning my cousin Charles and his lame brain theories. Seriously, apes? Are you kidding me?
Marvelous. Brilliantly done, Harry.
Thank you, sir. I'd be honored if you gentlemen would consider adding it to your trophy case.
A glittering addition. We'd be pleased to keep it for you, wouldn't we, Neville?
Handsome.
Little known fact, the character itself, for going into a museum, raiding Napoleon's wardrobe, and running around with his tri-cornered hat.
Why do you know these things? Oh, great. I guess putting all night turns you into that kid from Even Stevens. And that's why you should never take up golf, kids.
Francis Ouimet gets to play a round of golf that impresses the club owners by inviting him to the local amateur tournament held at the country club. Even though it was a different golf course according to history and the book the movie's based on. However, the grandfather from Blue Bloods tells Francis to scram because...
You're a caddy.
Yes, sir, I was.
Caddies don't play in the amateur. It's not for your kind.
Most unorthodox!
Though he raises the money with help from his father to his dismay. He goes to the clubhouse for a party, and what does Shia Labeouf do well in this film? Act awkward. How unusual for him. Especially with the forced love interest the film throws our way.
Oh, look, there's my brother. Freddie, you must know Francis.
Freddie? Caddy boy? Freddie, you're such a kidder.
Really? We're gonna make her brother into a Karate Kid villain?
So coincidentally, the brother of the forced love interest is Francis's playing partner in the amateur tournament. And... lame CG shot in 3, 2, 1! Well, folks, if you were expecting a lot of actual shots as opposed to these half-assed Disney cartoons, you're gonna be disappointed.
Are we going to keep seeing this? Because I seriously hate these special effects. They are so artificial looking.
Well, the director Bill Paxton, yeah, that Bill Paxton, wanted to have similar effects to another golf film, The Legend of Bagger Vance. However, in my most humble opinion, those effects were pretty lame too. So what do? You take mediocre effects from a mediocre film to make it look good, right? No.
5 unless you make the cut.
18? I can make 5 here in my sleep.
Sports movie cliche number 530. Never let your guard down when you're only a quarter way through the movie. You're going to lose. See? So after losing the tournament, we cut back to Harry with Northcliffe discussing how they're going to win the US Open with the help of Wilford Reed, whom the filmmakers changed from a professional to an amateur for some reason. This leads us to meeting one of our favorite characters in the film, the guy who's much bigger than his real-life counterpart, Ted Ray.
Seriously, this guy couldn't lift a club with a proper upswing, let alone see his toes. I can make that shot.
Really?
Yeah, totally. With my eyes closed. With a tripod.
A tripod?
I left my clubs at home. We're gonna make this happen. It's gonna be like just like that for our tour. We practice sponsors. Close my eyes. Serious? Oh my god. God, someone's killed Sci-Fi Guy. I'm a golfer in a golf ball. What the fuck?
It's okay, everybody. I know CPR. I know CPR. What's CPR?
After Francis loses the tournament, he looks for inspiration with a random vaudeville moment. Francis finds out that the 13th annual US Open is being played on his turf and wants to qualify and play with his idols. What the hell is that for?
Oh, sorry, I was just projecting my fantasies into the movie again. Let's just go to the training montage.
fortunes, you give it your best, and you've got to reach your prime. That's when you need to put yourself to the test and show us the passage of time. We're gonna need a montage.
So Francis qualified to play in the Open, and all the players are in the clubhouse to hear the opening speech from last year's champion.
If you read the papers, you know there's a lot of talk about the great English champion sailing over here to play in our Open. As the only born American to ever win this cup, I'd like to say to you boys, welcome. We're happy to have you.
Well, this speech is going nicely.
I don't care if you whooped every single one of us the last 6 weeks. I'm sick and tired of people saying all you have to do to win is show up. This time you're not taking our damn cup back.
You can have the cup when you pry it from my cold, dead hands.
However, on the eve of the tournament, Francis loses his caddy for reasons of being a poor guy. So this is when he asks a friend to help him caddy for him. However, only his little brother can show up and decides to handle his clubs and balls.
Oh my.
For him.
Mr. Ouimet, I can caddy for you.
Eddie, my bag is as big as you are.
But I can do it. I carried for lunch at fellas at Franklin Park. Ask any of them. They came out here to make good on what Jack promised.
Mr. Ouimet, we can have catchphrases and solve mysteries with a talking dog in a mystery van.
All right. All right. You can caddy for me. Okay? But you're gonna have to call me Francis.
Okay, Francis.
All right.
You got a problem?
Now that's the Eddie Lowry that I know.
Who?
Eddie Lowry, not only Francis's caddy for the game, but they'll eventually become good friends. However, Lowry will later become well known for staging one of the coolest matches between Byron Nelson, Ben Hogan, and some other guy who beats them. But yeah, we hear Eddie give sweet catchphrases during the match that pretty much make him a personal Yoda.
Keep your head down and I'll watch the ball. We're gonna pour this hole. Make it roll, it'll sink the hole. Okie dokie, pipe and smoke. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Can't play them all at once. Gotta take them one at a time.
Keep your heads down and I'll watch the ball.
He's more like a slightly less annoying short round.
Okie dokie, pipe and smoke.
Okie dokie, Mr. Ouimet. Hold on to your potatoes.
So now we can finally get to our match. And guess what, Iannone?
What?
More shitty CG! Francis plays a solid first round of golf, and unlike today's golfers who wait another day to play the next set of holes, pussies, these golfers would complete 36 holes in one day for a half of the game complete. Oh, and we get President Taft and the villain from Dudley Do-Right to mess with his expectations. Sure.
Shankosaurus! Wah, wah. Finishing the day with a middle-of-the-road score, Francis cleans up at the clubhouse and encounters his idol.
Fine play today, Mr. Ouimet.
Thank you, sir. You too. It's mostly dumb luck, though. On my part, not on your part. I mean, you don't need luck. I need luck.
I remember when you held my hands and winked at me. So before we get to the second day of the game, Francis's dad still tries to reinforce that his son is following a false dream, and then this happens.
What do you mean?
Well, you see, there's a scene where Wilfred is acting cocky in front of Ted and Harry in a sit-down restaurant. All of a sudden, when he brings up that they're from poor families in Jersey...
Well, how could they resist? Two poor lads from Jersey, up from nothing, working-class heroes to the great unwashed. And all Jersey's ever given us are potatoes and dairy cows.
Don't look over there.
Sorry, Harry, I couldn't contain myself.
Neither could he.
Shouldn't have brought Jersey into it.
Well, I guess it's badass on the surface, but it leaves me feeling strange. Because right afterwards, we continue with the film like nothing happened. Like in the book, it was shown that the conversation happened at a pub, which to me would make more sense. Here it's like cutting to a couple of reviewers playing cards, and then all of a sudden...
Look at all you internet critics thinking you have something special in your nice-looking hotel. I post comments on YouTube!
This was a very expensive hotel.
Yeah.
Second day of golf begins with traditional New England weather, with lots of rain.
Tell me something I don't know.
Basically, golfers had to continue playing in the weather like this until today's pansies, who take the day off until the storm passes. This brings us up to one of the better scenes in the film, with a lack of crappy CG, fast editing, and pacing. It's basically like the last fight in a Rocky movie with golfers.
Well, that is something I didn't know. They really used to play in conditions like that? I'm learning so much.
Third round is closing and... Freeze frame! Freeze frame!
Why?
Don't you see whose name's on the leaderboard? That's Walter Hagen.
Oh?
Walter Hagen, the first golfer to win $1 million on tour.
Oh. Wait, did you say Hagen? My God!
Yes, that was my great uncle Walter. He regretfully died in a bizarre accident involving a boat and an elk, and I inherited his fortune, and that's one of the many origins of how I got my empire.
Hey, I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
It's the last hole Francis has to play, in order to tie Harry and Ted for a playoff match.
Still going. Long-lasting Energizer batteries keep going, and...
So all three golfers are anticipating the next day's match, and while Darwin's cousin is writing his article with an interesting ending.
But I have given up all attempts at prophecy. I will start tomorrow's round with an open mind. It should be the greatest game ever played.
So in a tradition that's still held today, the US Open is played with an additional 18 holes. Basically, if one scores the best out of who's tied, he wins. The last time this happened was in 2009.
And if they're still tied after that, Thunderdome!
Either way, the match goes on and Ted's the first one to start missing out.
Done in by a monarch of the forest.
Wait a minute, how does Ted go from shooting from the thickest of trees and then when he has a clear opening he can't make it to the hole? What, was he bothered that there weren't any lame CG ladybugs to help him guide his shot?
And for some reason, the game continues without Ted. Frost, did you just change history for the convenience of the plot? Ted Raid's still going to be playing this game. He's still just going to be at the bottom. He still has a chance to... Ah, screw it. Let's just finish up.
Yes, let's.
Where do you think you're going with that?
Look out the corner.
There's a bunker down there.
Yeah, but if he's over the bunker, he's a chip away.
We don't know he's over it. It's a trick.
So Francis calls Harry's bluff and he finds that it pays off. Now Francis has the lead going into the 18th hole.
So now Francis has to make one putt for them to have to continue with another 18 holes. Seeing that we're 10 minutes away from the ending, I doubt they've written a scene for that.
You need this for 72. You can do it. Read it, roll it, and hold it.
And that's what she said!
Oh geez, looks like you won the game. Shock and awe.
So that was the greatest game ever played. If I had to be brutally honest, this overly cliched movie that changes details to the actual 1913 US Open match in Brookline, it's not that bad. Honestly, the biggest fault this movie has is playing a lot of the tropes in sports films. However, I think as far as golf movies goes, this is one movie that I knew how to utilize them best. Come on, this is coming from a subgenre of sports movies whose best film is a Rodney Dangerfield comedy. As I mentioned before, events and details such as how the playoff was played and actual golfers who participated were changed to the convenience of the plot. What I find ironic about this is that the author of the book that painstakingly documented the events leading to this, during and after the game, also wrote the screenplay and even addresses the historical inaccuracies in the commentary. From what I gather, I found that Mark Frost could be a good story man, and if there's ever going to be another golf movie, he'd be the go-to guy for a good screenplay. However, dialogue is not his forte, but the way the story flowed was good. Not great, especially things like Varden's backstory could have been elaborated on more. I mean, we have a character that had tuberculosis, a bastard child, holds an almost 100-year-old record, and helped master the art of modern golf with his grip and swing. A whole movie could have been made about him, but they decided to keep Ouimet the focus of the story. Don't get me wrong, because Francis holds a spot in history for, well, doing the impossible. Even though he's grown up near the course, the odds of him winning are the same as if a kid who's never played a major grew up near Augusta National and would beat both Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods at the Masters. The point I'm trying to make is that while Francis did the impossible, I think the story would have been benefited if it focused more on both him and Harry Varden. But for what it was okay. If you're interested in checking out how the event was played, I recommend checking out the book for yourself. It's a big read, but a lot of the history, the emotional backstories to Varden and Ouimet, and as well as the significance to the game of golf makes it worth the read. Otherwise, Bill Paxton has done a decent job putting the movie together given the material he was working with.
Alright, I have to say, I was a bit skeptical of this movie at first, but really, it wasn't bad. It's nowhere near as good as Seabiscuit, like Larry King said, but it's still a good movie. Shia does what he does best, being awkward. And it actually works here because he's surrounded by upper-class snobs and professional golfers. So yeah, don't dismiss the movie just because Shia is in it. That said, one thing I really hate about this movie are the stupid special effects. They look so fake and it really takes you out of the environment. The movie would have been far better off without them. Also, it seems like every single hole on this golf course ends right in front of the Ouimet household. I understand they mostly did that for convenience, but after a while it got kinda stupid. But the golf games are actually quite interesting, even for me, a guy who doesn't like golf. And the sets and costumes do look good for this period piece.
So you see, that wasn't so bad, now was it?
Yeah, I guess not. So, does this mean I'm free to go? What the hell, Tedesco? We were done filming the review!
Well, you see, Iannone, making reviews, it's easy. But advertising and promoting, that's hard. That's why you and me, we're gonna advertise this video at the convention. Together. And this over here, just make sure we don't get sidetracked.
You're a madman, Tedesco! A madman! Seriously?